I've been wanting to do some thermal testing, and I thought I would give it a go with this system. It's got a fairly small heatsink and fan. It's a Celeron 633, and I thought this would be a fairly easy system to check to see the difference between some brand new thermal paste, Arctic MX2, using some old thermal paste, and also toothpaste, and then no thermal paste to see, what the difference in temperature is. So to start with, we'll go with the best, which is some new thermal paste. I know this has been done before, but I'm not entirely sure that old thermal paste has been reapplied, or whether anyone has tried with using no thermal paste. Generally it's not a done thing anymore, but years ago with low speed processors, people wouldn't, thermal paste wasn't really a thing, I guess. First generation Pentium. So this is a heatsink. I've cleaned off most of it. We'll put a small amount of this on here. It's only a very small die, so whoops, that was more than I planned. This is also, an easy, relatively easy heatsink to fit and remove, except for the fact that the fan doesn't really reach. Oh wait, here's a closer one. Brilliant. Right, so let's switch this on. And we'll have a look at the hardware monitor, and we will wait a little while to see what sort of temperature we get after about 5 minutes. Okay, we've left that for 5 minutes. Highest we're seeing is 43, and I'm only doing it in the BIOS so that it's easy to switch off, and not putting the processor under too much load, so that it doesn't risk damaging it or it overheating when I'm using the other thermal paste. Okay, so we'll switch off, and we will put on the next one. I think we're going to go with there's probably too much thermal paste on that anyway, but we're going to go with the used dried up thermal paste. Clean this off, and this is basically thermal paste that has been scraped together from an old application. It's gone hard, and you can see it's pretty difficult to work with. difficult to spread. It's not completely dried up, but it's fairly dried up. Trying to spread it out and not getting a great coverage. Okay. Should do for now. Okay, let's switch this back on, see what temperature we get in the BIOS. So it's starting at 38, 39, that's alright, and we will leave it for 5 minutes and see what happens. Okay, surprisingly we've only got to 39 degrees, 38, 39 degrees centigrade, 40. So that old thermal paste seems alright actually. We may have to test this putting the system under load, but for now we're going to move on to the next test, which is toothpaste. So let's switch this off. So as you can see, it's sort of done a reasonable job of spreading out. I'm going to try and take this off whilst also keeping it for future testing. Although really I should have done the load test now. I'll redo it all for under load if we need to. What you can see is this is actually you know, gone into all the tiny little grooves in the heatsink, and that's you know, that's what thermal paste is supposed to do. And even this old stuff has managed that. So toothpaste, if you've got nothing, if you've got no thermal paste, you can put toothpaste on, or so they say, you know, in an emergency situation. I don't know how long it'll last, when it'll dry out, things like that, how effective it is. Switch this on and have a look. Going into the BIOS. Gonna have a look at hardware monitor. We're getting 38, 39, 40. So we will start the timer again, go for another 5 minutes, and then see what happens. Okay, so this one as well, 40 degrees after 5 minutes. Let's move on to the danger zone, setting this up without any thermal paste. So, oh, that's not left much there, but it's, you know, done the job. You'll also get a nice minty fresh smell. The fan is not speed controlled. So the fan should be spinning at the same speed for this. And right, no thermal paste, absolutely nothing in between the heatsink and the processor. And let's switch it on, go into the BIOS and see what happens. Okay, we're already at 54, 52. So we've got a shutdown temperature of 80 degrees C, so hopefully we won't hit that, but if we do, the system should shut off. Setting a timer for 5 minutes, and yeah, we'll come back in 5. We've got to 5 minutes, and it's at 54 degrees, so it's not too bad. Not as bad as I thought it would be with no thermal paste. So we're going to move on to testing under load. So I'll just get on with this, and we'll probably speed this up in the playback because you don't want to watch Windows 98 boot up, do you? It's not exactly very exciting. Do 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 do. I can't really remember if I've got the drivers on for this system. It's built-in graphics, Intel 810. But we'll just run the Quake software rendering, and that should give the system processor something to do. So it doesn't look like it's got the drivers. I don't think it necessarily matters. As long as we can get Quake running. I think we can. We'll give it a try. So it's only low res, but it doesn't matter. Let's check if we've got temperature monitoring. 55, and check system load, processor usage. So it's go for WinQuake. We can run it in a little window. WinQuake. Yeah, I don't think that it likes that. But as long as we've got 100% processor, which we do, well, nearly, and temperature, put that somewhere, so we can see. $55. Let's zoom in a bit. Wow. Have you ever seen Quake look like that? We're up to about 5 minutes, so I thought I'd give it another 5 minutes because it's climbing a little bit. We're up to 55 degrees, so we'll give it another 5 minutes and see if that increases further. Another 5 minutes has passed, and maximum's 55 degrees centigrade, 129-ish Fahrenheit. So yeah, let's move on. I'm going to go back to toothpaste. Obviously, this Cyrix, no, it's not a Cyrix, it's a Celeron processor, isn't, you know, the most heat generating processor out there. So if you've got a system with a different processor, then your results are going to be completely different. Oh, looks like we've got more colour. So we're getting 41. And we'll run this for about 10 minutes this time. See what temperatures we get. Frames per second, we were getting there. 67 frames per second. That's pretty good. Well, for the system. It's not been exactly 10 minutes, but it certainly feels like 10 minutes. Maximum temperature is 43. So that's with the toothpaste. And now we're going to switch to the old reused thermal paste. So that's the toothpaste. This is the tricky bit of trying to spread old thermal paste. Like trying to spread butter, but it's not melted, so you risk ruining your bread. In this case it would be the CPU die. Oh my goodness. This is probably be better with a plastic thing instead of a metal knife. I hope that was as enjoyable for you as it was for me. Okay, let's go again. And temperatures are 46. Oh, max 49. So we've actually gone up in temperature with this application of old thermal paste. Yeah, it's interesting. And we need to make sure we select this quake window so that the process is at 100%. And we'll give it another 10 minutes and then come back. The frames per second for that was 67.5. It's been about 10 minutes and the highest temperature we've got is 49 degrees. This is using the old thermal paste, so we're going to shut it down, put in the new thermal paste and see what temperature we get. As you can see, if I was pointing the camera down, you can see here that the thermal paste has not necessarily spread as effectively and not been pressed down as effectively as it should be really. You can still see the patterns where I was trying to smooth it down with the knife in this bottom bit. So that would account for the higher temperatures that time. And we will put a small amount of Arctic MX2 . Oops. Dripped somewhere. Dripped all over the motherboard, which is great. I will put this on and then take it off just to check if that has covered. No, we're not really getting a good amount of pressure there, are we? Let's try that again. Oh, that's better. Yep, that's looking good. Got to remember the wiggle. Okay, we're back after replacing the battery. Oh, wrong one. It's not remembered that we want it windowed, I don't think. And I've ended up running 3D Mark, and that's doing that. Okay. Great. What is going on? Okay. We are up to 39. That's the best lowest temperature we've had in Windows. So do this again. Right, video options, window mode. Press D to set it as the default, which I've done. Right, quick time demo. And we'll leave it running for 10 minutes again. So we're about 5 minutes in. The highest temperature here is 40 degrees, and this is using the Arctic MX2 thermal compound, 2019 edition, and generally, yes, you can use your old thermal paste, but if it's too hard, too dry, it won't make a great seal. It can also make it more difficult to get a good flat mounting of your heatsink onto the processor. You can use toothpaste in an emergency. I don't know how long that's going to last before it dries out and then your temperatures start increasing again. You can use, for older systems like this, I would say you can probably get away without using thermal paste, but your temperatures are going to rise in the summer. You know, when temperatures are hotter, or if you're in a hot climate, you're probably going to notice that even more, and it's generally not recommended at all. I mean, you probably are better off just using toothpaste than nothing at all, because the temperatures, you know, toothpaste 43 degrees, no thermal paste 55 degrees. So yeah, toothpaste is better than nothing, but for how long, who knows. Maybe we'll set something up and leave it running. The thing to note though, that this processor is an old Celeron 633, and you know, its thermal output is much less than modern processors, much less than, you know, some of the high outputs of AMD Astrons, Intel Core 2 Duos, etc. You know, you can look up the thermal output of a processor. So for example, I was talking about the thermal output of this processor. This processor outputs, or has, a thermal design power which represents the average power in watts a processor dissipates or lets out when operating at base frequency under load. And this Celeron is 16.5 watts, which is very low. Intel Core 2 quad processor, for example, is 105 watts. So, you know, it is not advisable to try any of these things with a much more power intensive processor. Anyway, thanks for watching, and let us know if you've tried anything similar, if you've used toothpaste, and how long you've left it there. How long has your system been okay with toothpaste instead of thermal paste?